How do you balance authenticity with performance? Tell us, what's the secret Alex sauce?
I'm quirky and I'm odd. I don't know that I care as much to impress anybody.
I mean, there's no way you felt that way in the beginning.
You got 30 seconds. What's a way that you could build trust?
You have to ask questions, and sometimes you have to talk about yourself. So when you give up something, you get something.
The 52-year-old version of yourself giving advice to the 25-year-old version of yourself, knowing everything you know. What's some advice you give that person?
You have the power to go in there and show how you can transform their business. I think for a lot of people, they're so fixated on a result. Most people would say, well, why would you say that? But the buyer might say,
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Client Giants, where we interview and meet with the most interesting people in the world in their given in their given profession. We talk to them about how they succeed in business, treating people a little bit differently. I'm Jeff Jackel.
And I'm Jay O'Brien.
And today we have with us
Alex Bugarski, longtime friend, colleague, peer, mentor.
Musician.
What else can I say? Musician.
Kick-ass musician.
Alex brings 31 years of sales experience, including 22 years in sales leadership and training, and 15 years working with real estate professionals, which is largely actually why he's here. As Director of Business Development at Tom Ferry, he oversees the speaker bureau, sponsorships, rev share partnerships, and ticket sales. He's also a professional musician, bringing a dynamic and engaging perspective to business and leadership. I've got a question right out of the gate, and it doesn't have to do with the owls, although I want to get
owls
there.
on stilts.
Owls on stilts.
Is it whether we had spent 80% of this talking about him as a musician and only 10% as a sales leader?
Yeah.
It's
Well, I
not-
feel like a Dos Equis man after
It's not that, but keep guessing.
Okay.
No, the first question is, you've built a reputation as an elite salesperson. Maybe you should shed some light on why people should listen to you, because it's a very impressive background, but without coming across as this hard closer. And I know this because you've closed me a zillion times.
And you're like, why did I just write him a check?
I just go, is that another? No, it literally happened today. I was like, is that another wire going out to Tom Ferry International? So how do you balance authenticity with performance? Tell us, what's the secret Alex sauce?
I don't know. I'm kidding.
Next question.
Great.
Next
Okay.
question.
I think, how do you balance authenticity? I'm quirky and I'm odd, and I don't know that I care as much to impress anybody.
You're the cool guy at the party that all the chicks like because they wish you would just care more, but you just won't.
Well,
Yeah.
wait. Okay, so how many years have you been doing this?
31 years.
Okay, so you
Probably
don't.
32, but
When you say you don't care, meaning like you're not so outcome driven, or maybe like at this point you're so comfortable with it. Is that what you mean? So then,
yeah, it's probably at this point because I think for a lot of people they're so fixated on a result, so fixated on the outcome that they're not getting to the point early, but not building a relationship.
so at what point in these 31 years did you figure that out? I mean, there's no way you felt that way in the beginning because you
No,
probably,
in the beginning I was like, let's just close people just to close people. It was for sport.
And there are skills and tactics
You know
there
what I
too that play on psychology,
Yeah,
right? Because
well-
you have to earn the trust for someone to say yes, even if it's just a game like that.
You do, and early on, you had to establish trust in a very short period of time. Otherwise, you just got hung up on, right? And I was around a lot of people who were your typical closer from the '80s, so to speak. Coffees for closing kind of thing.
Jordan Belfort
Closes.
style.
Yeah, completely. And that was the style. You close people, and then it was for sport.
And you did this was your style at the time.
I was young and stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're like, I just closed someone, high five, and this and that. And sometimes it's things that they didn't want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then later on, you got lucky enough to understand that that's not the way to do it. And it's better to look at things that people want. And if somebody wants things, it's now a completely different approach, right? Because now they get to choose who they want that from.
So does that mean that style has that style worked across every different thing that you've sold? Because not everything that you've sold people wanted as much as the next, right?
Yeah, I mean, for some people, it's about convincing, which isn't the right way to sell. And a lot of salespeople, sales managers show you how to convince people.
Yeah, I guess that's the blend of the authenticity and performance. 'Cause
Yeah.
You're saying, well, there's a way to be authentic and still perform?
Well, there are two different things, right? Authenticity is building trust, right? In the old adage, they like you, they trust you, they buy from you, right? So I think being myself, being quirky, being stupid, being funny, being off the walls, my typical personality. I don't know if people enjoy it or like it, but I don't care. What am I gonna do?
It's kind of fun. I've never thought about that, but you are unequivocally like unique and funky and different. And you'll say stuff. We've even had you in here and speaking with some of our sales folks, and like you'll say stuff and you're like, where the hell did that come from? You realize it's just your style.
Yeah.
But I haven't really been on like the buying side of it, but that makes sense to me now. I haven't thought about that. Like you're like, well, if he's gonna go off and say this weird shit, then like I think he's just being honest. Like he's just being real about everything.
Yeah,
so then the rest of it is like, I don't think I'm being sold to because you're telling me everything.
Yeah, and I'm pretty upfront. So most people don't genuinely tell you why not to do it and all that stuff.
I have an example of that, like an example of being upfront where other people might not be.
You know, I've done a lot of sales training and technique training, so it's a form of a takeaway, so to speak, right? Like this product's not for you, and these are the reasons why a lot of people don't buy it,
right?
You know, and then most people would say, well, why would you say that? But the buyer might say, why not me? Why isn't it for me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And these are things that you know, they've been training on for a long time, but I think it's inherent in me after a while of doing something for so long. You don't like look at it technique. I don't think about like what technique it's like I've been playing guitar for so long. Some people say, what scale do you use? I'm like, I don't know. Like I don't think about it like that anymore. I don't have to.
Is that style a takeaway, or that kind of being very obtuse with it something that is a generally accepted practice? Because we were going to ask you what's something that you implement in sales that other people are doing wrong, or that other sales coaches or professionals would just be like, you know, they totally disagree with you. So is that an accepted thing, or are you kind of
is it
firing
an accepted thing? No, I don't know, to be honest with you, because I've had sales managers tell me to tone it down, which is like, what kind of sales manager are you? I'm one of the top salespeople in the room. You're telling me to change?
Right.
You should be patting me on the back.
So
telling me to whatever you're doing.
He looked dead in my eyes when he said the pat on the back part.
Well, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Right?
They're saying, why are you telling a prospect this isn't for them, or why are you sowing doubt? That's
just, why are you saying all this stuff? Literally, I was at a company, a very large publicly traded company, right, and doing my thing there. And the general manager comes up to me. He was listening in one of my calls. And he's like, can you not talk about your past experiences? Because I was a business owner and I had marketing experience. I had more than your average bear experiences. And I'm not going to get into all of that. But like, I looked at him like, I just built trust with the client, right? And then they're buying from me.
Yeah.
You know,
which part didn't you like?
Over and over.
Right.
Like,
right.
What do you? And I think he felt threatened.
How that you're outperforming
because I might have had
him?
more experience than him, or that I was looking to rise up in the company, take his job, whatever the case may be. I don't know what he was thinking. I'm not going to pretend to know what he was thinking. But for a sales leader to come to someone who's a top performer and give them a sales lesson, I shouldn't say that because I'm open to learning, but that kind of criticism when you're closing, it's like I just said, just keep doing what you're doing.
Do you think after 31,
if you're closing the business, do it. If you're not lying, you're not cheating, you're not stealing, you're being incredibly upfront and transparent.
Yeah.
And people are still buying from you, then keep doing it.
When you say you're open to learning, is that still the case? 31 years later, you know this frontwards and backwards. Like,
I think everybody
still coachable.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. Like, and there's just different ways people phrase things. Like the last, 5 years, you hear all this stuff about tonality. You hear it a lot, and they are correct. Tonality is important in how you say things. I just think that I still learn from that stuff, and there's certain aspects of that stuff I can incorporate. Because I tend to talk a lot, if you haven't noticed. but you know what I mean? I'm still open to every idea out there, and I'm not going to take the idea and just do it exactly like they say it. I might in the beginning, and I might practice it to try to get it into my repertoire. Just like when as a musician, there are certain techniques, and I'll be like, oh, Joe Bonamassa does these 5-note run things, right? He does them with speed. He got it from Eric Johnson and all this other great stuff. And I'll take that technique on a guitar and I'll go through it and I'll go, okay, let's slow it down. Maybe use a metronome, slowly speed myself up, get rid of the metronome. And now I'm doing it. And I'll do that for 30 minutes straight, the same exercise. And then the next day I'll do it. And I'll do this for weeks, months. And I'm still doing some of the same exercises I did at 17.
Oh, man.
And I'm blazing. But it's same for sales, right? So I get a technique and then I'll practice it. I'll go through it. I'll think about it. I'll think of different variations of it and then incorporate it. And then I'm like, okay, that seems manipulative, right?
Where you're saying you're practicing something and you feel like it would feel manipulative to the prospect?
Yeah, because it doesn't come across on authentic.
Like it's not serving them.
It's
serving.
forced.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some people are susceptible to those things. And that's typical marketing, advertising, and everything, right? They blare messaging at us until we believe it. Right?
So at this point, I think that a lot of those techniques are probably just inherent now. Where you, like you were saying earlier, it's just so natural. You're not thinking I'm going to run through the ABC process. You're just like, it's natural.
Yeah. And I'm fortunate enough to the last 7 years sell something people want.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the cheapest thing on the block, but for the most part, I don't have to close like I did, you know, like some hard, you know, getting back to some of the aspects of relationship building. It's a lot about relationships.
Yeah. So,
you know what I mean?
Let's like touch on that a little bit. Actually, now you're 50, right?
52.
52. Can you believe that?
Absolutely not.
Just admitted that.
No.
I mean, like, well, you should tell everyone how you froze yourself for 15 years and all that. That would make everyone feel a little bit better about why this looks so good.
The whole
but the 52-year-old version of yourself giving advice to the 25-year-old version of yourself, knowing everything you know, techniques and all of the natural authenticity, building trust. What's some advice you give that person?
Become a doctor like your parents wanted to.
Oh boy. That's a whole other level of sales.
That's a whole
cut
other
your hair,
ball,
you'd get girls a lot earlier.
I like these. Anything about sales?
Anything about business? Anything relevant? I really think like getting back to authenticity. I don't think I had that at 25, and I think most people in their 20s have a certain level of insecurity. So that comes along with trying to be authentic, especially when you're that young and you walk into a boardroom and these guys are 50s, which seem ancient to you at 25, and you think everybody's rich, and you think everyone's got a nice car, and they're all staring at you. But literally all of these guys in that room are there to get an understanding of what you have to offer and how it can benefit them. And you don't have that level of confidence at 25. So I think the advice would be in some way achieve a level of confidence or an understanding that when you're selling something that there's a desire, they set up an appointment with you. So it's not like you're banging on their door, right?
Yeah, they took this willingly. You're there for a reason.
You kind of have some power.
Yeah.
25-year-old Alex. You know, you have the power to go in there and show how you can transform their business. You have the power to go in there and show them how what you have can benefit their business in long-term, short-term. And that to be precise and curt and really get an understanding of their pain and what their needs are prior to just going on a ranting pitch about how great things are. I remember my dad, you'd say, you know, don't go walking into a sale and say it walks, it crawls. You know, he was always saying, don't be a carnival barker.
What does that mean?
Meaning they're always just on a bullhorn, you know, it walks, it crawls,
Oh,
it does
yeah.
this. You're just promoting and constantly promoting and not having an understanding, going back to a business analogy, an understanding what your client wants or where their pains are or what their needs are. And I think young salespeople, I'm not going to say every young salesperson, but some of them, based on their training and their experience, would rather promote than to understand, and that would be what my 25-year-old self.
Well, it sounds like that's the carnival barker is like selling the product and not selling a result or the outcome or how this is going to change their life or anything. Correct. It's like there's no understanding of like the result. Was your dad in sales?
Oh yeah.
What did he do?
Investment sales, and he was an incredibly unique person. I don't know if I get my quirkiness from him because he was definitely quirky, but he was very outspoken. And he would say weird stuff. I think because he had an accent. He was from another country. So he would, like, you know, as a kid, he would try to threaten me and say, I'm going to hit you so hard, you'll think a choo-choo train hit you. And then I'd be like, did he just say choo-choo? I felt scared, and then I felt kind of warm. Here comes Thomas the train. He's going to...
I bet that's where you got it. Like, because that's the kind of stuff that you do where you'll say something off the cuff and you're kind of like your brain goes over here for a second and you're sort of like disarmed.
Yeah, well...
That has to be where you got it.
I've had people come to say how unassuming I am. I'm like the unassuming killer. But... yeah. Like,
Did you?
He was the same way.
I feel like that is where you got it.
But then he had a really mix of hard closing and telling people what to do. And in his mind, like, people need to be told what to do. So, these old techniques from the 1970s and 80s. Go get a pen. I'll hold.
Yeah, exactly.
Write this down.
I'll hold.
Yeah. You're going to want to write this down, sir.
Yeah.
Is that where you learned, or where did you learn sales? You learned from your dad? Did you learn?
I worked in a clothing store while I was trying to be a musician, and there was a sense of sales in there. It kind of intrigued me. And then my dad was like, this kid's not making any money with that guitar of his. So he hired me to be a telemarketer, and so that I could play music and tour, do whatever I needed to do, and then come back and make a living and pay for gas, right? And so he taught me how to be a telemarketer in an investment sales room. And then that's where I met all the other wolves of Wall Street.
Dude, I was telling Jay a story a few weeks ago that I had totally forgotten about. I had put in some dark place down in my soul that I did telemarketing for like a single day. And was just like, this is not for me. I forget what the product was, but it was like a timeshare. So like I felt terrible. But you basically got over the fear of rejection on day one.
Yeah. And I wasn't this outgoing. Like, I was somewhat artistic, being
such a strange...
being a musician, but we were required to make 300 calls a day, and that's no joke. And someone listening to your podcast who's been in a telemarketing room, it's 300 calls. Nowadays, you're lucky to get 80 out of somebody or 100. And business calls are a little bit different because you got to do a little more research, but we were required to make 300 because you're calling consumers and things like that. And then later on, I wanted to sell. I saw people making money and buying watches and clothes and things like that. There was a guy who used to walk in the office. He had like $40,000 worth of clothes on him: ostrich skin boots, Armani suit, Rolex watch. I'm like, oh, I want that, But
this
to
is
me,
so Wolf of Wall Street.
But to me, it wasn't like ostrich skin boots. To me, in my head, I'm like, oh, that's a Paul Reed Smith guitar. That's a Fender Strat. That's a new drum set. I could just equate making money to buying music equipment like a young kid would.
Yeah.
How do you build trust as a telemarketer? You got at that volume.
You got 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You got 30 seconds. So
Yeah.
what? Like, if you can rewind and think back to that time, you got 30 seconds. What's a way that you could build trust?
I think just you have to ask questions, and sometimes you have to talk about yourself, right? So when you give up something, you get something. Not every time, but that's generally the law, right? To get something, you have to give up something. And so some people feel if you're giving up aspects of your life, personal things, or saying something that is, hey, listen, I know what you're going through. I just called you out of the blue. I'm married myself. I understand. I've been married for 6 years, but blah, 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 or whatever you want to talk about. And you're genuinely giving personal information out. Someone else says, okay, their wall sometimes can come down. And I say sometimes because all these techniques don't work all the time. And I don't know that I knew it was a technique at the time, but like I would just talk regular, where I think some of my associates at the time who were also telemarketing were very mechanical. Sticking to the script, right? Whereas I ain't sticking to no script.
Yeah. Well, yours is that
I needed to perform. Right?
Yours is empathy, right? Like most of the examples you just gave is you're like putting yourself in the shoes of the person you're trying to sell, telling them I get it.
Yeah, and empathy plays a big role when you're building trust. To truly understand where someone comes from, to truly understand someone when they say, my mom is sick or something like that, and you really truly have empathy for that person versus in a workplace, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And then some people just walk away and like, okay, well, that's a sore subject. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Whereas some people I talk to and I say, my mom is sick. They're like, oh, I'm so sorry, Alex. Is there anything I can do? You know,
Yeah.
but relating back to the phone, like some people just open up and talk to you. And then if you can get a real, genuine conversation going, then you go from there and you start asking questions. And then you get into another conversation. And then it becomes apparent that, listen, man, I'm just calling you to talk and see if there's anything I can do for you. And from there, you build your repertoire and you build your relationship, and hopefully you get a client, right?
So with what you do now, where it's way beyond telemarketing, and you actually develop relationships with people, what's like the next level of that type of selling and relationship building? You got people that you work with now for 7 years where you're constantly selling them or working with them. And obviously, like you said, you're selling something that they want and they need. But what does that relationship building at like level 10 look like for you now?
Being myself, right? So I'm reserved, right? But I might swear more. I might say something really far out, you know,
There's
really quirky, like, you know, just really you're kind of yourself. In like, even in my office, I have to tone it down. Like, I'm going to say something stupid.
Was it you that gave a stat? Someone gave us a stat recently about like in a sales setting, if you develop a rapport or you use curse words or you're comfortable using curse words, it has like a significantly higher percentage likelihood of closing or moving to a next step.
I don't know.
Because it's like a level of comfortability or just like.
I've never heard that, but it does make sense. I mean, I think it's also going back to the confidence where you're not saying it in like an aggressive way. You're just saying like, I'm okay letting my guard down and speaking naturally to you because this is just who I am. You're not trying to impress anybody. And then people start to feel that like, okay, I'm getting the real version of this person.
Yeah, it's authentic.
Yeah. But you got to be careful with swearing. Like even authenticity, like even me being a real person, I wouldn't go to a friend's house and his parents were there and I'd just start swearing off like a level of respect, right? Like, and that's in people's personal lives outside of business. So even in a business setting, like if someone swears, then that makes it okay, I guess, for you to come back if you feel the need to.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just not going to rattle off the F word like that guy recently at the Olympics. Was it the Olympics or no, the soccer game? The guy who said the F word over and over when the reporter was asking him tennis. It was tennis.
No, I didn't even see that.
Oh, okay.
And tennis is not a sport where you want to do that.
Yeah. Oh, he got reprimanded for it.
I'm sure he got fined.
Yeah. He said the F word, and then she said, "Please don't swear," and then he just repeated F F F F F.
Oh my God.
Like probably
Like
a little arrogant at the time because he won his match. Who knows?
And it was probably Roland Garros. It was probably in France where it's like
It was.
tennis in
that's
France
what it was,
is like
man.
much more.
I could be wrong. Don't quote me, but I think it was in France, and he got reprimanded. So, but what I'm getting at is like, you know, sometimes we feel the need to swear. It's not, and especially if your client's swearing. And getting to your point, if you can be real with somebody after 7 years and you can sit down and just talk, or other than business, right? Me and Jay have talked about bourbon. We've talked about guitars. I help you fix up your guitar, at least look at it. We just become people, you know, and then you realize these people are managing budgets and they have to be careful too. And recently, a client of mine who I've been doing business with for 7 years, and they moved to a different company and called me back to spend that company's budget with me. Said if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, so you're building building these relationships by being yourself, right? I mean, that's a little loosey-goosey. No one really knows what that means except for us. Yeah. But I know there's more to it. So you mentioned like the guitar. That's a perfect example, the bourbon. And I have to imagine you have a ton of clients. I'm one of many. And we're fairly close in proximity, so maybe that plays into it. But what are some of those things that completely color outside the lines of what you were hired to do or what you're selling that's creating this like personal relationship? Because I want to feel like I'm the only one you do this stuff for, but I think there's like an element of is the stripper really likes me. I know everyone says that, but like this one really likes me.
This is different. I'm different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You can let him down gently.
Yeah, you can.
I give a car to every stripper.
Yeah. Okay. There it is.
Yeah.
Just Jay? Is he the only one?
Was there a question?
Yeah. No,
Well,
the question is, how are you building relationships outside of just the I sell sponsorships or whatever? I know this person for 7 years. I myself, like, are you keeping in touch with them in a different way? Are you, like asking about someone's family or kind of like going outside the lane of just business transaction stuff?
I try. Not everyone wants that from you. So
those people aren't fun.
You know what? Sometimes it's just transactional. You know what I mean? Or, you guys are fantastic. Like we've talked a bunch of times, and we have similar either A, personality types, or, we just get along.
Yeah.
Right? We could go out to drinks. We could not talk about work.
Yeah.
There are some that maybe they're analyticals. Maybe they sit with a different personality profile that doesn't match with mine. So I'm not going to go in there being too authentic, to be honest, but we all have a portion of that in me. So I'm very detail oriented. I can be very analytical myself, not over analytical, but when I am going to say I have a business problem and I need a solution, I'm going to sit down and really analyze and really be open to different ideas that'll help me solve that. So I just take it that that's what they're doing. And so I want to help them with that. So maybe my approach is, aside from what I'm doing for you, what are other things that I can help you with? So one of them said, I could use some sales training. So, well, great. I'm a sales trainer. Put your crew on the webinar. I'll help you out. Well, how much is that going to cost? Nothing. A, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
B, I'm here to help you. Like genuinely. And at first I just did one recently for a company and they're like, no, but seriously, what do you want? I'm like, I enjoy it. I'm going to learn more about your product. You're a client of mine. B, I'm going to help you guys out. And then it became, okay. And then after 2 or 3, they're like, what can we do for you? I'm like, no, seriously, I kind of enjoy myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've been on the receiving end of that.
We have.
Yeah. I helped you guys out too. Yeah.
Yeah. But
like, you need help, but it's just a third party person coming in.
But similarly, there is this need to balance it out. There's a need for us to be like, we can't just accept. Like we have to.
Law of reciprocity.
Yeah.
Law of reciprocity. We have to balance this out somehow, even if you're not expecting it or you don't want it. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, you're going above and beyond and you're doing something that's totally outside of what they believe you're there to do.
Yeah,
like the
and
transactional
then they understand
side.
that one of them is still probably questioning, is this guy for real? Like I probably helped his team 6 different webinars. I've helped coach one of his team leads. And they're probably thinking,
there's a long game here.
Yeah, he's like,
There's
what's
a long game?
And I'm like, no.
Like, how many conferences are you guys going to run?
Yeah, exactly.
Stop talking to me altogether. And he's not like my number one, buyer for in terms of all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Might be toward the bottom, as a matter of fact. But I enjoy his personality. I enjoy his teams, and I enjoy what I do. So, and it's also one of those things, like I've learned as I aged, these things are important. Right? You can call it giving back to your community, which is the business community. It is the people that I work with that are within the real estate world. And all of this stuff goes a long way. You know what I mean? Specifically for my employer and what I'm trying to achieve for him and helping to establish these relationships, knowing that, hey, listen, my employer's out there trying to help people. You know what I mean? And he's giving out free advice, and he's going out there busting his butt to keep all his employees employed, keep his clients happy, at the same time get new clients, and the wheel goes around. And there's no sense where I can't do the same thing and help him in his goal, help me in my goal, and help my client with their goal.
What's interesting about that is a lot of people, I think, they get to 30 years into their career before they are established enough, comfortable enough, like have maybe a existing book of business enough that they feel like, okay, they almost feel like they have to take their foot off the gas pedal in order to spend a little bit of time and energy giving back and doing those things, which I guess in some ways is true, but it's like a conundrum that if you did that earlier in your career before you really had the time and energy to be able to feel like you could do it or like you've earned it, you'd probably grow that much faster. If there was 25-year-old Alex and you basically were like, hey, you probably don't feel like you can do this now because you feel like you just got to close. But if you start to play a long game and here's how you do it, I mean, that's pretty interesting.
brilliant. No, but it was unintentional. Like I don't intentionally think I'm going to get business from it.
You're not doing it for
You're
that
not
reason.
for that reason, but
I'm
you know that it's the law of reciprocity, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
And it's also just like how people how people think of you, how they refer to you. Like they talk about you when you're not there. They tell other people to talk to you. Like it's because of those characteristics.
Yeah, that's your brand. Like your human brand becomes, oh, he's just going to help you out. He's just a good guy. Like I remember when Jay told me that you were going to come in and do that. I was like, we're hiring him, right? And he's like, no. He just said he would do this. I'm like, well, that's not. We can't just. And he's like, no. He wants like, and immediately it was like, well, shit. What can we do? No, not well. But we're different but like, it's not like what's he trying to do. But what can we do for him? Like, is there anything we can do for him? Like, there's only so many conferences. It's not.
Yeah. No,
But there's always a bottle of bourbon.
But there's always a bottle of bourbon.
and you can share it with me.
There's always money in the banana stand.
I don't think about. I just literally sometimes like I'll tell my wife or somebody I'm like a dumb dog.
Just keep doing the thing.
I just keep doing it. I'm not gonna overanalyze. I'm not gonna overthink it, and that's with every relationship. I'm not going to overanalyze relationships.
So go deep. When was that? Like, when did you start doing that?
Probably the last 10 years.
10 years.
Maturity.
How does that relate to, in your industry, you serve real estate agents? I mean, indirectly, I guess, like your brand does, and then you're reaching out to vendors who also help real estate agents. But how does that serve that community? Like, what's a way that a real estate agent can be overly helpful without an agenda? How can they earn trust? Like, what's a X factor secret weapon that they could adopt? In your case, you've got this crazy sales background, so you're like, I'll help train your sales team. It has nothing to do with your job at all, right? What you do today, but it's a skill you have, and you're willing to provide it to a client just because you're being a nice guy.
I think right now, and if this podcast, people who watch it 10 years from now, maybe this doesn't apply, but right now, certain properties are sitting for a length of time, right? In some markets, not all markets, but that is a long time to build a relationship versus when the market's hot, you put the house on the market, you're building a 30-day relationship, and then you are doing other things to maintain visibility with that person to get a referral or if they buy another house. But it even in a short period of time, if you listen, like people love to talk about themselves, right? So just as you're sitting with John and Mary, John and John, or Mary and Mary, whatever the situation is, or just a John, and you're sitting down and you guys are having small talk of either about their property and they're telling you personal stuff, take note. Maybe the person's going through a hardship. Maybe that's why they're selling their property. Stop thinking about, how can I manipulate his hardship into selling his property or getting the listing or whatever the case may be. Just do the right thing, right? At the end of the day, if you just continue to do the right thing, be a kind person, and you do these things genuinely, you'll just find that you turn into that person too. And then it's just not like you're fooling yourself, but like you just become a kind, considerate person with a completely different motive, and then that turns business, I think.
I love that. I mean, we talked a whole bunch in here, and I've done this on stages and stuff. I basically tell people, okay, you're on a phone call with someone that's just business. I challenge you to write 3 lines, blank lines. And by the end of that call, I want you to write 3 things that have absolutely nothing to do with what you're selling. It's like Johnny, he's got a 5-year-old son who just started baseball. He's on the Pirates. His anniversary was last week. And whatever those things are that have absolutely nothing to do. And then call upon them, something in the next phone call. And that feels like it just comes naturally to you. Yeah. But like these people, I give them that and I say like, do this over and over again because it's not natural to most people, but it eventually will become natural, and they'll start to think that way. I think
so, yeah. And I do know that like not everyone's a chatty Cathy, not everyone's personable, right? Some are, like I mentioned, analytical or a different personality type. But even those people can think of ways to help. You give referrals all the time, so make note of the people you talk to, and if they happen to be a plumber or if they happen to be someone in the home services business, write them down. And a lot of realtors do this anyway, and they provide these referrals to their homeowners. But you're also looking for genuine people. So if you can find the same type of person that like is customer service oriented, just a good person. You find if you give a referral from, say, Jeff the plumber here, I give you over to Jay, and you just happen to be like a kind, good person, and you're like, hey, Jay, I got this issue, and you say, I found another issue, and I'd fix it. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? And you're finding those people too in your network. Then you're just building this community of people like that. And then you're around people of your own kind, which is my mom used to say birds of a feather, right? It's the same thing. We hang out with people of our own kind, and we generally are repelled by the opposite, right? I don't like negative people.
Yeah.
or people in the real estate space who, I mean, that's an industry I come from as well, that they could just recommend the plumber who does a good job and is trustworthy, or they can say, hey, I'm sending a lot of business your way. Can we talk about a kickback situation or whatever? And you're like, you just ruined the whole thing, right? Like you killed the whole thing. I mean, I remember I had an agent one time in the Bay Area who he was working in his office, and a colleague of his said, hey, I need an agent down in Orange County. And so he said, oh, you should call Jay. So she calls me and says, hey, do you service this Orange County area? I have a client. Do you do a referral fee? Of course, that's totally natural, like a regular thing in real estate. Yep. So I do the referral fee. As the deal is closing, I get a call from him, and he goes, what's my referral fee? I'm like, I don't get it. Like, there's only one referral fee. And he wanted a waterfall effect of like, I referred her to refer you, and I'm just like, no, dude. Like, no. Just how about
multi-level marketing?
How about you just throw up my name because you're a good guy, or how about you take the? But like, I'm not splitting this a million different ways because you gave my name because I do a good job. And I mean, there's countless people in our lives that we constantly refer business to. I mean, one in particular who has made probably a few $1 million in the last 3 years of revenue, and we've never asked for a thing, including a discount on the services that we pay for, just because he does a good job, and that is what it is. Like, the world goes around, like you said.
Yeah, and I think like realtors, some of them will do things with intent, right? I'm intentionally trying to butter them up. I need to intentionally do this to build a relationship, to build trust. I'm going to show up with coffee, but their personality is lacking. And not to say anything about someone's personality, right? Because not all of us are sparkly and bubbly, and that's okay. But to do things without intent.
Yeah.
It makes that gesture.
Yeah.
It makes that gesture feel wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We all meet business people and realtors. Realtors, you'll have them show up in a 3-piece suit or a dress or whatever the case may be, and they look incredibly professional and they talk incredibly professional. And then you see them after work and like, dude. Mm-hmm. Like, if you were dude the rest of the day, you'd get a lot more clients.
Yeah.
Because I don't know one family or person in any situation that doesn't appreciate just a normal person.
Yeah, just dude.
Exactly right.
Yeah, it's not all transactional. Hey, I'm Joe Transaction.
Exactly right. 100%. That's the authenticity piece. All right. Well, do you have anything else on your side that you want to ask?
No,
Mr.
I mean,
Alex?
Yeah. Is there anything that you got going on right now that you want to promote, or people can find you on social media and see your music or anything like that?
No. You can find me on LinkedIn at Alex Barsky, Aleks. That's a K.
Oh yeah, we'll have a Chiron that's proper right in front of you.
Alex Barsky, the spelling. I work for a guy named Tom Ferry, a remarkable guy, and he does an event every single year, which you guys are amazingly part of. And thousands and thousands of real estate agents get together for networking. There's content. His event is August 3rd through 5th. And if you want to go to tomferry.com and review the event, if you feel it's the right fit, get yourself a ticket, get on down there and meet other like-minded folks that you can share a lot of information with and make some friends.
And have some fun.
Love that.
Have some fun.
They're always
There's
great.
drinks. I'll be there.
And this event might not be for you. That's the takeaway.
Yeah. This probably isn't for
it's
you.
It's not for everybody.
It's only for winners.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining
Thank
us,
you,
Alex.
Alex.
Really
This was
appreciate
awesome.
you, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it.